and Pictures Podcast.
And we're back with Popcorn and Pictures Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Jose Mendoza, and we're doing things a little differently because right across the table, no longer behind a screen, I have my other host,
Sam Karpinski.
There we go. Cool.
The fellow co-host of Popcorn and Pictures. Which one of us is the popcorn and which one of us is the pictures? We'll leave it to you to decide.
Which one's tastier? Which one's better to look at?
There's been some pictures that have looked pretty bad, you know?
Sure.
Yeah.
This is the first time we're in person since our first episode with Smashing Machine. So pretty cool. Our buddy Sam is up in Northern California. He decided to make the trip for the special episode
to an undisclosed location, Northern California. It's quite top secret. It's actually a pretty well-known film studio to those in the industry, but not for the common man to know about. It's a place that's been colloquially known as the Redwood Forum. At times, it's been a place full of a lot of art, pictures, popcorn, and just overall good fun with the entertainment industry.
Yeah. Home of such films as Dissectoid and Plastic Killer. Yeah. And what else we got?
Currently sweeping, Dissectoid currently sweeping the international circuits. But enough about terrifying bugs. Well, actually, in a way, we are talking about bugs in pictures this episode.
Yeah. Well, he's not a bug. It's a arachnid. But we are talking about the brand new Spider-Man film, Spider-Man Brand New Home. What am I saying? Brand New Day. Sorry, I'm still on the original trilogy, I guess. A lot of news with this movie. It's been out for a week now, and it's already been over $1 billion. So definitely one of the biggest, if not, probably will be the big. I don't know, maybe not the biggest, but one of the biggest movies of the year.
It depends because obviously stuff like Avengers Doomsday may take back the throne, but true. That also is coming like with 2 weeks left in the year, so I don't know if we count that or not.
I didn't think about that. You're right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I figured that before we talk about Spider-Man Brand New Day, the character is very much beloved by a lot of people, including Sam and I. We grew up with this character. Sam is definitely more of a comic book fan than I am, but I grew up with the movies, and he was kind of my gateway into superhero, I guess, genre in many ways in movies.
Sounds like you said gateway.
Gateway.
Okay.
Spider-Man.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, we're not talking about Spider-Man Brand New Gay, the Spider-Man Brand New Day. What's your relationship with Spider-Man? I know you've read the comics, but anything?
Well, particular? I mean, basically, he raised me.
Yeah.
No. I remember. I don't even remember. I take that back. I think I got like a Spider-Man figure or something once from my grandmother, and got into the character from that. At that time, it was like the first Raimi movie came out in 2002, so I would have been almost 7 at the time. So I think that was the first time I really remember like being conscious or aware of Spider-Man, as a character. And obviously I fell in love. I remember that I got stumbled across at the library this like collection of several of the old comics, like in black and white, not colored for whatever reason.
Okay, interesting.
And it was pretty cool. I love Spider-Man. I read the whole Ditko Stan Lee original run, and just got into it from there on out. And ever since then, it's been me and my pal Spidey.
Okay, cool. I mean, same thing. When I was a kid, it was kind of a shame because I always wanted to read comic books, but given where I lived, it was kind of, it was hard to find the comic books. Truthfully, when I was a kid, I had no idea where to even go to get them. I think Toys R Us might have had a few issues, but my relationship with Spider-Man kind of started with, for some reason, my mom and dad got me a encyclopedia book of Spider-Man. So despite not reading the comic books, the encyclopedia provided me like all the backstories and stuff. So I never actually read the stories, but I vividly remember seeing images of like Gwen Stacy's death, the symbiote, Mary Jane, Aunt May's death. So, despite not reading comic books, I'm very much, in tune with like the lore and stuff. I had Spider-Man PlayStation 1 game, the PlayStation 1 game, very nostalgic. Of course, Spider-Man 2 came out, the movie, and it had the game as well. So yeah, very much a big part of my life. I feel like he's a superhero character that kind of transcends, I guess, the media that he's in, because clearly he resonates with a lot of people, even if you're not a big fan.
He's the everyman superhero. Like,
yeah,
of all the superheroes, like, he's the one that is most relatable.
Yes,
you know,
yeah,
and that's I think the biggest reason why he remains so unquestionably the most commercially viable superhero and comic book character.
Yeah, I agree. I think it has to do with his age too. I kind of found a rediscovery with Spider-Man when I was in college, because of course, Spider-Man does become a college student at one point. And besides just like fighting crime, it's just really a character about trying to find balance with his life, with his romance life, his family life, career. But at the same time, he's being a superhero. He's just a normal guy. He's not Bruce Wayne with like, millions of dollars. He's just kind of trying to, no pun intended, but like swing by with his life. So I kind of figured, unless you have anything else to say about the character.
Well, no, I think I think the kind of a segue to where you're going. I think you mentioned earlier, right? Obviously, Spider-Man: Brand New Day had the biggest domestic box office opening and one of the biggest worldwide openings of all time. And I think the reason obviously we talked about, right, the everyman nature of the character, the relatability of some of the things he goes through as a character. But I think also an underrated factor is a lot of like the people who go to movies today have a real fond nostalgia for the Raimi films.
Yeah, true. Yeah. I was gonna say too, even if it's not the Raimi movies, I just feel like there's a huge oversaturation of Spider-Man, but in a good way. Not that it feels like overwhelming. The Sony universe feels a little, unnecessary, but
wait a minute, you're talking like bangers like Kraven the Hunter
and Morbius and what else do we got?
Got Madam Web.
Madam Web. How can I forget Madam Web? But we've gotten the video games for the PlayStation. I guess 4 and 5 at this point. Which are pretty great. We got Into the Spider-Verse, which is also kind of introducing a lot of people to not even the Spider-Man that you and I are familiar with most, but like Miles Morales as well. Yeah. But yeah, I was thinking before we talk about Spider-Man Brand New Day, we'll just kind of briefly give our history and our thoughts on the Spider-Man franchises. At this point, there is 4. Of course, we're going to exclude the Sony universe, so there's no need to talk about that. But
I think Morbius has some pretty redeemable qualities to it. I think we really should dissect Morbius.
If you want to talk about the memes that came with the movie, sure thing. We'll get to where it goes. We could probably just briefly talk on those movies. But there's no other place to begin other than kind of the franchise that started it all. Not only kind of people's fascination with the character, but also the movie that kind of, for a lot of people, is kind of agreed upon that kind of set the stage for superhero movies today. That's Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy. And those I think they still stand on their own after all these years. I try to tell my friends to watch them, and they all kind of agree, like, no, it's a little too campy, it's a little too cheesy for today. But that's kind of what makes them great.
There's a charm to them, and I think you said, like, it kind of helped launch. X-Men was like 2 years before. Yeah, 2 years before Spider-Man came out. So, but between that and X-Men, those were the movies that really, I think, kind of because there have been Batman, there have been Superman, right? But those were kind of the only ones. This was the first time that, like, I think, like, it felt like a lot of like real modern spectacle was thrown at it, because I think Batman Returns came out like in 92, and they had a few after that were kind of dead in the water for various reasons. But yeah, with X-Men and Spider-Man, for Marvel in particular, those were at the time, and Spider-Man obviously still is to a lesser extent, X-Men, the marquee properties of Marvel. So to be able to both successfully turn it, and in Spider-Man's case, get somebody who's a fairly notable director at that point with his horror work, and Sam Raimi was pretty big, and obviously became, at the time, I think it had the highest grossing domestic opening weekend. a mere 114 million.
Wow.
Which is crazy. I haven't looked up what the like ticket sold comparison is. I'm sure it's a little closer than what it would appear to be on paper money wise, but it is pretty crazy to see like just how like where we are now, like how you would expect after however many movies the character would decline, but no, Raimi set the stage for all that, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like it's kind of the early movies that made me realize how great movies can be. Of course, I didn't really recognize it at the time, but I'd imagine, I know you've seen it many times after the first time watching it. Looking back on it today, there's a lot of great elements in that movie. I mean, like in Spider-Man 2's example with Doc Ock, where he kind of loses control and the tentacles start taking over the hospital. You know, that feels like a horror movie. Sam Raimi kind of proved himself to be a fantastic director. And the series kind of just, I don't know, just kind of redefine the genre of superheroes, despite there not being a whole lot of them. You kind of mentioned the X-Men movies. I don't know if there's a psychology behind it, but looking back on it, those movies feel kind of stale in the sense that, you know, the characters are wearing like black leather. Spider-Man, he's true with his like colorful spandex. I'm not sure if there's kind of like that childhood charm of just kind of seeing the colors in there. But I made a Letterboxd list recently about kind of how the 2000s was kind of full of these of like a bygone era. Like Harry Potter, I feel like fits in this category. Of course, Lord of the Rings too, Spider-Man fit in that too, where it's kind of a nice blend of there wasn't an over dependence of CGI because there was still like practical effects being made with those movies. You know, in Spider-Man's case, there's a scene where he learns how to crawl on the wall. And you could just tell all they did was they had a building, but the floor was a building on its side. So Tobey Maguire's just like crawling on the floor.
Yeah.
It's just like really, my point is it just has a lot of obvious filmmaking techniques, but it's kind of a product of its time where it's just really endearing to kind of see how they got a lot of the stuff.
I mean, yeah, I definitely, and I've said that in the past too. I feel like it's the one of the Raimi films, even though I would consider it overall stronger than movie than say like Spider-Man 3. It's the one that has kind of like aged the worst, you know, just effects wise. Like you just see stuff now, but you're right. There's a certain charm to it because it feels very authentic to that era of filmmaking and blockbuster filmmaking in particular, you know, so it's still fun to see it, but it's definitely a product of its time, like you said.
But at the same time though, because I was watching clips of it recently, just kind of like on my Instagram feed. And one thing I saw was someone just like uploaded the whole fight scene at the end where Green Goblin played terrifically by Willem Dafoe. I just want to give a shout out to that. But
oh yeah, we're getting to that too.
I mean, that fight scene is pretty gritty for superhero standards. Because I remember like reading through the comments just because I want to see what people were saying about that scene. And I think what one person said that I feel is very true, but when you watch that scene, of course now we know the outcome, but it doesn't feel like he's going to win that fight. It looks brutal. It looks like they're actually like beating each other up. There's no music, of course, no dependency on like CGI. So, I mean, the impact of the fight feels a little bit more real and more
little Jose
visceral.
Thought Spider-Man was going to die at the hands of the Green Goblin.
Yeah. His mask is coming off. It's pretty cool.
Which I mean that's a good a good neat stylistic touch. I mean, is it realistic in any way that the mask would perfectly like peel off at that point? No, but it's a cool artistic touch by Raimi to have it like, I mean, it's seared in our brains like that, you know, so it's fun.
Yeah. And of course, there's other movies too. Spider-Man 2, arguably the best version of this trilogy, or the best,
arguably the best Spider-Man movie ever.
Yeah. Good point. Alfred Molina is great as Dr. Octopus. I feel like the biggest underrated aspect of the movie though is so at our
John Jameson.
Well, no, I was gonna say unfortunately our studio does not have Wi-Fi, so I can't look it up. But the Aunt May actress, just Aunt May herself,
Rosemary Harris.
She is kind of the beating heart for these movies. Doesn't do much, but at the same time she does. Just a very endearing character.
They very much like a forerunner, I'd say, in terms of impact to Michael Caine's portrayal of Alfred in Batman. The Dark Knight trilogy.
Yeah, just very sweet. Like I said, kind of the spirit of the movie. And I will say it kind of upsets me that I want to see her conclusion. She's still alive, and she's 98 years old. So if they ever want to do anything,
we're lobbying right now for Tom Holland Spider-Man 5. Bring back Rosemary Harris.
I would just
Aunt May.
I just want to see and that's the thing about these movies too. Kind of tied to Rosemary Harris. What is her name? Rosemary Harris.
Yeah.
But I kind of wish these movies got a proper closure, a proper ending. Because I would love to see kind of where Aunt May goes. Not that I can't imagine she's going to do anything
it's
crazy.
The big hanging plot thread from the Raimi Spider-Man films.
Well, no,
what happens next?
No, but there's Mary Jane, Aunt May. I kind of want to see where
it's interesting. I mean, so obviously Spider-Man 2, like we said, one of the greatest superhero films in general, and one of the best Spider-Man, if not the best Spider-Man. Spider-Man 3, kind of what I alluded to. Spider-Man 3, like if you watch it with the others, like it still feels like a decent conclusion, but you definitely feel like there was still more story to be told.
Yeah,
Raimi was planning on doing it. There's a whole another backstory we won't go into because it takes too long with the canceled Spider-Man 4, but it does feel a little like, man, there could have been even more work done. Now, chain of events being what they are, if that happens, maybe we never get Tom Holland Spider-Man with the Avengers, so you never know how those things go, but they were a product of their time, but set up a lot of the superhero films that we have today in modern franchise filmmaking.
Yeah. And again, I think for a lot of people, still considered the best interpretation of Spider-Man. Which I don't know. Should we talk about the next?
So are you saying that Andrew Garfield in The Amazing Spider-Man and Amazing Spider-Man 2 is not the best interpretation of Spider-Man?
He has his moments, but I don't know if this is a result of me just not growing up with it. But this kind of felt like Spider-Man wasn't really getting his
due.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, even despite not liking the movies a whole lot, I still remember a lot about it. I remember, of course, the costume. People argue that Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man costume is the best looking, at least in the second movie.
Mm-hmm.
But there's scenes I remember. I remember. I guess it's not promising, but there's a POV shot Spider-Man swinging through the street. It was in the trailer in the early days. The whole fight
was
scene.
1 or 2?
That was 1.
Spider-Man. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. The whole fight scene with Electro on Times Square was pretty well done. And I will admit too, even Rhino, I know people kind of were, kind of shooting that down, but I thought that, just even that little short fight sequence of him, webbing up a little, what do you call it? A metal plate from the man cave to fight off the missiles. I'm you know what? The movies might not be great, but it's doing a fairly honest job of what Spider-Man can do.
Manhole, not man cave.
Huh?
You said man cave. You mean manhole.
Manhole. Sorry. Yeah. Manhole.
I like that interpretation though, that he was picking it up from his man cave.
But, and of course, Gwen Stacy and Andrew Garfield.
Yeah.
A lot of great chemistry between the two as well.
Emma Stone, that's Gwen Stacy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were dating each other, so that probably had something to do with it. Yeah. But
and where are they now? Not dating each other.
Not dating. Off doing much bigger and better things, truthfully.
Have you seen Andrew Garfield's latest film that's coming out?
No, is that Uprising?
No, it's some kids movie. It's something The Faraway Book or I can't remember what it was.
No, but I was thinking more like Silence and I can't think of. Of course, Under the Silver Lake, which is something I told you to watch recently. He's a good actor. He is.
He's a good. And one thing about his portrayal in the movies, he's not really the problem per se.
Mm-hmm.
With it. It's more so the script. He's clearly enthusiastic. He is way too old to be playing Spider-Man. Yeah. I think he was 27 right when he was first cast as Spider-Man. So it was already, even with I think Tobey Maguire was around the same age right when he was cast, and it was stretching it, but Tobey Maguire has a little bit more of a geekier, youthful look to him, so you're kind of able to pass. Harder to do so with Andrew Garfield, who Andrew Garfield is a pretty conventionally attractive male.
Yeah,
so
right.
It's harder to pull that off.
And you bring up a good point too, because one criticism that I heard people say about these movies, which I have too, is that they almost make Peter Parker a little too cool. He's supposed to be a dork and a geek in high school, but he likes skateboards. He has like really cool hair. I just can't buy the fact this guy's being bullied in like from high school. But his interpretation of Spider-Man is really good. It's the first time he's like being comedic with not the criminals.
First time, but the time he's being most explicit with it. There are in Spider-Man 2 some comedic elements of Spider-Man specifically, not talking just the film in general, like a Spider-Man specifically being comedic. But you're right. He definitely embraced that more in a way that Tobey Maguire's interpretation of the character did not. Not necessarily that's Tobey Maguire's fault. I mean, some of it I think is just the script chose not to emphasize those elements in his interpretation. Right.
What do you think about these? Did you ever enjoy them, watching them? Do you
So I remember the first one I was kind of like okay with. I didn't love it, didn't hate it. I watched the second one. I actually went into the second one kind of excited for it. Like the trailer was actually pretty solid for it, much like some other franchise films made it look better than it actually was. It was like, oh, that's cool. And at the time, I don't know if you remember, but at the time it had leaks at that point that hold that thought.
Yeah, no, I'll let you.
We're back. We were dealing with a prowler. No, I'm just joking. We were having some technical difficulties, environmental difficulties, if you will. But we resolved them. We are back here better than ever, ready to resume this wonderful podcast. And we were talking about the Amazing Spider-Man 2. So I was saying, at the time, I don't know if you remember, but that was when it leaked that Sony had discussed with Marvel / Disney to include Avengers Tower in one of the skyline shots of Amazing Spider-Man 2. And so there were kind of rumblings like, oh, maybe they're get together and work something out to where Spider-Man could be part of the Avengers movies. So it was kind of that also made me kind of excited, where it was like, oh, okay, yeah, they might be actually looking at incorporating this into it. So I went into it with fairly high hopes, and I have never walked out of a movie more disappointed than that. Which, to be fair, I wasn't nearly as versed in cinema as I am today, but still, it was a letdown. It kind of sucks.
yeah, I agree. But like I said, there's so memorable moments in those movies for me. I didn't really want to spoil it, but I could spoil this movie. But Gwen Stacy's death.
It's 12 years old. Yeah, at this
Gwen
point.
Stacy's death. I remember that was pretty memorable with the visuals. I think what it was is not even like necessarily the visual, but just kind of the fact that it kind of went there, because despite how gritty Sam Raimi could have been with his movies, you never actually really saw death like that.
He should have just killed Mary Jane. What's wrong with him?
Not even that necessarily, but I remember when, of course, like I said, because of the encyclopedia I had when I was a kid, I knew that Gwen Stacy dies, but I just never really expected to see it on the screen. I thought they handled it pretty gracefully. But like I said, you don't think so?
It's not even that. I mean, her death per se is fine. It's just that the portrayal of the Green Goblin in that movie is atrocious. Absolutely atrocious. The main switch with like Norman basically not even being a part of it. And it's the AC clicking on there goes those environmental difficulties again. Anyway, so as we're talking about, the Norman Osborn is barely in it. Dane DeHaan.
He's something like that. Yeah,
I forget his name. I apologize, Dane. His portrayal of Harry / Green Goblin. There's some interesting like threads they feel like they could have pulled on with it, but it kind of devolves into just stereotypical supervillain, cartoonish supervillain stuff.
Yeah.
At the end of it. And then, I mean, the goblin design is laughable.
It's really bad.
It's really, really bad.
And to some degree too, even Electro's design is pretty silly too. Of very smart of them to kind of get rid of that design for a future movie. But
really weird portrayal. Also, like how Jamie Foxx's Electro is written in that movie.
Yeah.
Thankfully, Jamie Foxx, got cast again and as Electro in No Way Home, which we're talking about in a bit. But yeah.
And also redeemed himself as that character, I have to say, too.
Yeah, for real.
It's funny because if you remember, we'll talk about it, but when that movie was coming out, there was like rumors about like, oh, is Tom Holland is
Andrew Garfield
and Tobey, are they going to be in this movie? The first thing they announced was that they casted Jamie Foxx as Electro again. Which was
everybody was lost. They were like, yes, finally Jamie Foxx back as Electro. It's what we've been wanting.
I was going to say, some people like me were like, okay, this does not seem promising. But like I said, that was before we kind of knew what they were going to do with that movie. It
is kind of laughable to think about it. Think about that in retrospect, like that they cast all those characters and we're like, oh yeah, we're not having the other Spider-Man in it.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
like they thought that could be kept secret.
Yeah, true. Kind of a shame that the movie. Shame to start. I guess it's weird that the movie, not kind of similar to Tobey, never got a proper conclusion. I mean, instead of getting 3 movies, we got 2. The only Spider-Man duology that we have. Kind of funny, but
it's funny. Well, if you think about it, the Raimi films are the only Spider-Man trilogy we have.
True, that's true. Yeah,
kind of. I mean, you can say they're all named with home in the title of the first 3 Tom Hollands, but I mean, obviously we have a 4th one, and there's gonna be a 5th one, no doubt.
Spider-Man is like a Spider-Man era with Tom Holland.
For sure.
And I don't know.
So, I mean, with that said, though, talking about impact as a whole, because Amazing Spider-Man 2 sucked, just in general.
Yeah.
Again, the issue is in the cast. It's just the way the script is and the effects. That led to what we have today, Tom Holland's portrayal of the character, because Sony was like, oh yeah, maybe we don't know what we're doing and went to Marvel and was like, hey, can you help us with this, basically. There's obviously more nuance to it than that, but more or less this failure, or it wasn't a failure, the relative downturn in commercial performance of Amazing Spider-Man 2 led to the Tom Holland era Spider-Mans and being part of the MCU.
Yeah. And I have to say, also kind of led to one of the more fascinating business side of movies. If you look into it, I won't talk about the Sonyverse, but of course that does exist. And from my understanding, there's a agreement with Disney and Sony that Disney can use Spider-Man, but Sony still has the rights to him. And they still want to keep the rights, so they don't have to necessarily make Spider-Man movies. But it has to be built, there has to be, related Spider-Man related movies. So the reason why you have like your Morbius and your Madam Web is because they're trying to fulfill their agreement that as long as they keep a movie, I think it's every like 5 years or something, they can keep the rights to Spider-Man. So that's why they kind of release all these like horrible movies. It's very cynical, but yeah, they're doing that just so they could have the rights to Spider-Man, which is kind of hilarious.
It's kind of, I don't know about you, but it's kind of funny to me because with the glaring exception of Madam Web, every one of the Sony like villain Spider-Man villain movies has like had some like usually visual aspect of the character that is like really well done, and you're like, man, that's actually cool. And I've like thought that, where even Kraven the Hunter, like they released a poster of Aaron Taylor Johnson as Kraven, and it's very much evocative of a famous comic book cover of Kraven. And I was like, wow, that actually looks cool. It kind of makes me want to see Kraven. Now, obviously, I didn't see Kraven because I had the good sense to like look at the trailer and see the reviews and realize this movie probably sucks. But it is funny to me that there's been like little aspects here or there that they've like nailed, and but the flaws are fundamental, to the studio studio mandated plan for those characters.
Yeah, the movies exist just purely for just to ensure that they have Spider-Man as a character.
Yeah.
But
did you see the leaked art of the canceled Sinister Six movie? Came out the other day.
No,
Yeah, so some leaked concept art of the Sinister Six movie with Drew Goddard got leaked the other day. It actually looked pretty cool. Spider-Man was like a big part of it.
Oh, was he?
Still, yeah.
Okay, he wasn't gonna be Tom Holland though, was he?
No. This was still in the Garfield era when they were developing the Sinister Six movie. Which I don't know if you remember in Amazing Spider-Man 2, they have like a blatant tease for it.
Okay, I was aware of that. I thought, because I kind of heard that. Well, at the end of Morbius 2, Michael Keaton's Vulture shows up at the end, trying to tease. I don't really know what they're teasing. They're not teasing anything.
I don't think they knew what they were teasing.
No, yeah, I was gonna say they're not teasing anything. It's just trying to persuade people to come see the next movies, thinking that's going to lead up to something. That's a downside with this. I guess it's kind of our talk about the Sony universe real quickly, but those movies don't work because a lot of the villains don't really have any sort of resonance unless Spider-Man's involved. So once you take out that solution, that part of the equation, then they're nothing movies really. Yeah. Like, yes.
Well, yeah, it's also, I mean, Venom is, I think, the biggest one, even though that was the most successful, but Venom's origin story is fundamentally tied to Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like you lose a major piece of the character when disconnecting it from Spider-Man. Yeah. Like it's crazy. Morbius, does it have to be explicitly Spider-Man? No. Now, should there be a Morbius film? No. Madam Web, kind of. Craven, also no. But like Venom is like, I mean, it's obviously was the most successful because it's the most famous character. But like there's literally no reason for him to exist aside from Spider-Man other than money.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I saw Venom. I saw the first two Venoms and not very good. It's kind of sad because I feel like that was the first movie that kind of hurt. I mean, he's still very successful, but Tom Hardy, he was in a lot of great movies. That was kind of his the end of his streak of being in a lot of great performances and great movies.
You know why he did Venom?
No,
he did because his son is a big comic book fan, and his son wanted him to play a comic book character.
Outside of Bane. Okay, sure.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
Yeah.
The son probably, Venom's more marketable than Bane. So,
I suppose you're right.
Know, it's the things fathers do for their kids. Am I right?
Yeah. Well, it's endearing. I hope
it's endearing. It's also a waste of Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
I hope the kid loves the movies.
I hope the kid realizes one day that he grows up what he did, what he's responsible for.
Can you imagine? That's actually kind of funny. I guess briefly talk on Tom Holland's movies quickly before we transition to Brand New Day.
Which is a Tom Holland movie.
Huh?
We should talk about Tom Holland's movies before we
that's what I'm saying.
Brand New Day, which is a Tom Holland Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
Anyway, I mean, what curious? Just your very quickly your thoughts on Homecoming.
It was an interesting take on not even Spider-Man, but also just like a Marvel movie. It feels very much like what I'm trying to distract myself, or what's his director's name? But it feels like very much like an early high school movie. No, not John Watts. I'm talking more when you watch Spider-Man Homecoming, it feels very much like
John Hughes.
like an early high school movie, like John Hughes. Yeah, thank you. Yes,
Hughes.
Yeah. It's kind of one of the only Spider-Man movies that actually really feels like Spider-Man's in high school. You know, there's like a prom.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's it, but it's really Spider-Man in his high school. You know,
yeah.
He looks like a high schooler.
Yeah, it's the most explicitly high school set.
Yeah,
yeah. Spider-Man for sure.
I like there's like a little punk rock energy to it with like Spider-Man, like, you know, like I think the end credits is like a 2D animation of like Spider-Man, kind of like a punk, you know, aesthetic. And also one of the few compelling villains in a Marvel movie, I feel like too. Michael Keaton as Vulture, of course, is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I feel like when people talk about Marvel movies, they always say how the villains are weak. Thanos is an exception, but truthfully, I think Vulture is actually, you know, one of the better villains in the whole.
I agree. Yeah. Well, which is interesting because I mean, Spider-Man's known to have one of the better more consistently quality rogues gallery in the
Yeah.
comics, but
True.
and Vulture is a fairly knowable one, but it's a very different interpretation, much like Alfred Molina's Doc Ock in Spider-Man 2.
Mhm.
Very different interpretation than the comics origin of the character, but works really well. And partially also like Alfred Molina's Doc Ock because it has a great actor behind it as well, Michael Keaton in Vulture's case.
Is there a reason why you asked me about Homecoming? Is there like, what do you think?
No, it's just I think Homecoming is kind of more highly rated than I think it should be. I think it's really fun. It has a lot of stuff I love. It just drags at times, like in the middle act. I think specifically there's a few things where just you really feel the pacing of the movie. It's almost 2.5 hours almost.
Yeah.
So it was just curious because segueing into the next one, like Far From Home, I think I rate that movie a lot higher than most people do. I think it's kind of underrated.
Okay. So I kind of
disagree.
Well, I agree with you with Homecoming, but I disagree with you with
Far From Home.
Far From Home. I think they're both fine movies. Not great, but they work. They serve their purpose. I thought. I'm sorry. Far From Home. I thought was. I remember people describing it as like the epilogue to the Infinity Saga, and that's kind of what it is. It is like a nice little kind of epilogue.
Yeah.
I think it's endearing in that sense. Kind of see the aftermath of the whole. The snap.
I Am Iron Man.
Iron Man as well. I think Jake Gyllenhaal does a pretty good job as Mysterio. Not as compelling as Vulture, but I think
it's fun. It's more. Yeah, it's not as compelling, but it's more of a fun like performance. It's still relatable. Like you can see.
And also Mysterio is actually one of my favorite villains. I think he's like a funny character. He like a failed director actor, and now he kind of has illusions as like his superpower.
Yeah.
Before did you know that Bruce Campbell was rumored to be Mysterio in the Sam Raimi movies?
I do. In fact, it's pretty, people are pretty confident that he was in fact going to play Mysterio proper if we had gone Spider-Man 4, 5, and 6.
Such a shame. But I think it's kind of cool too because with these home movies, Spider-Man home movies, trilogy, whatever, a lot of them don't even take place in New York. It's kind of fun to see Spider-Man in like Europe. But what would you say that you like about this movie that you think it's
just endearing, like a lot of like the whole backdrop of him in that movie is him trying to like tell MJ how he feels about her. Like that's literally the backbone of the movie. I mean, yes, you're right. There's the undercurrent too about him, kind of coping with Tony with Iron Man's death from Endgame, but then that takes a backseat to him just trying to get together with MJ.
Yeah.
It just feels very authentic Spider-Man, like him trying to do something very like relatable, but is because he's Spider-Man constantly keeps running into these obstacles preventing him from doing it. So I really enjoyed it. It's just fun. It's very breezy. And then the end is like a big cliffhanger, leads into No Way Home.
True.
Huge. I remember seeing it. I was just like kind of like blown away that they had that big of a cliffhanger at the end of it.
That's true, actually.
Not that it was in doubt there would be a third one, but it was like, wow, this is like, I remember like a mutual friend of ours. He was like, oh, should I see it, before I go on vacation? I was like, yeah, you need to see it because of that. You don't want to get spoiled. So
you're actually right. I remember that was kind of like a big jaw-dropping moment.
When his identity is real, because at that point in the Raimi films, the Garfield films, and up to that point with the Tom Holland films, that had never been done on screen. I've been done in the comics a few times where it was like, oh, his identity has been revealed, but it was a pretty big deal to like see it on that scope. You know?
True. So. And I think that was J.K. Simmons reprising his role as
J. Jonah Jameson.
It was kind of a nice little lead up too, and I agree. There was like a point you're like, oh, are they going to do it because Jake Gyllenhaal, like his video glitches, but then then he follows through with it. Yeah, it's a good little ending scene, which kind of led to actually one of my favorite Spider-Man movies, which is No Way Home.
Which
I love that movie.
What's more to say? It's got Garfield, it's got Raimi, it's got Holland. No matter which Spider-Man you love, it's got something for everybody.
True.
Every Spider-Man fan. But it truly is. I mean, I think that movie is it like a masterpiece of a movie? No. Is it like one of the best movies of all time, or even one of the best superhero films of all time? No. But it's just pure. It's fan service done right.
Yeah.
Like it's just really feels earned. It feels like, okay, this is something fans actually want. We're treating it as something the fans want rather than just something we want to do to make money. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, true. For a lot of people like you and me, we finally got like a little closure with Tobey Maguire. I mean, I would like more, obviously. I would love to see Spider-Man 4, but if this is the closest we get, then, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, it did. It is, somebody described it as basically Spider-Man 4, The Amazing Spider-Man 3, and Spider-Man No Way Home.
And Andrew Garfield is much better in this movie as Spider-Man. I think he was actually one of the better parts of it. But I agree. I mean, at the surface, it's not really a movie for everybody unless you're a huge Spider-Man fan.
Yeah.
I remember taking my mom and dad to see this movie because, we all saw Spider-Man when I was a kid. I kind of thought they were going to resonate with it more, but they were kind of like, yeah, it's Spider-Man, which is cool. But
what's wrong with your parents, Jose?
I mean, why
didn't they cheer like our theater cheered?
That's also why I took them too, because they never were in a movie experience where there's clapping when they see characters. I will say my mom was like, "Oh, that's the old guy, Tobey Maguire," which I thought was pretty funny.
She said the old guy.
She said something along the lines of "Oh my God, he's old," but because like I said, they took me to see the movie as a kid, so it's also in their memory. Yeah, I guess
that's a joke in the.
That's actually really funny.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, like I said, movie's not. I think you're saying it right. It's not a masterpiece, but if you're a Spider-Man fan, it's kind of the best thing you could ask for.
It's clearly made by people who love the character as much as you do.
Yeah.
And it's just like, everybody's having a blast. Funny you mentioned, you were talking about Willem Dafoe's portrayal of Green Goblin back in the original Raimi Spider-Man. And he, I mean, as we allude to, Jamie Foxx's Electro is done well. He gets kind of redemption for that. Alfred Molina's Doc Ock is of course good, but the highlight of the villains in that movie for me really is Willem Dafoe as Green Goblin, because I mean, Willem Dafoe is one of our greatest living actors working today right now, but so it's just fun to see him. I feel this is the case with every movie he's in now, but that was an early case, I feel like, of him getting into a really campy role.
Yeah.
And just absolutely having fun with it. And he has even more of a blast, it feels like, in this one.
Yeah.
Too. So it's pretty fun.
I'm looking back on his career. I'm like, he really he either gives it his all with in Nosferatu or in Lighthouse. And then he'll give it his all, but in different ways where he's just gonna really ham it up with No Way Home. I think a thing that's really funny in the movie too is Thomas Hayden Church, who plays, of course, Sandman.
Oh yeah,
he's just totally absent in the movie. He's just a CGI character, and it kind of begs the question why.
It is really fun. I'm
really
assuming he had a scheduling conflict.
It was, yeah.
Yeah,
he was only able to voice the character.
Yeah,
and then it's funny too because at the end you do see him, but it's reused footage from Spider-Man 3. It should be a flaw in many ways, but it's just
charming.
It works in a way.
Yeah, it's kind of charming. So, with all that said, that also it ends on a kind of a cliffhanger as well. Not to the same degree, not in the same way that the previous film had, but more an emotional cliffhanger. Oh, okay, what now? Not what's next, but what now? And that leads us to Brand New Day.
Yeah, kind of redid the whole franchise. And Brand New Day kind of picks up from where we left off. Yeah. And it seems very much like MCU with the Infinity Saga. This feels like a kind of new saga in a way for Spider-Man. I'm guessing the repeated word now is going to be day, I'm guessing. So
that's right. It's
I don't know what that's going to be called, but
it's going to be one more day.
Is that what it's called?
No,
or you guessing? I thought you knew.
No, because Brand New Day is a comic title.
Oh, okay.
And that was on the heels of One More Day, which is the comic that broke Peter and MJ's marriage in the comics.
I see. Okay.
And that Brand New Day was the era like right after.
Gotcha.
So that's what they were taking it from. It has no resemblance to the comic storyline anyway, but One More Day would be the next logical thing, which people would really be losing it over that.
Okay.
So
what'd you think about Brand New Day?
Brand New Day, as we speak, I believe, if I remember correctly, it is sitting at a 4.1 on Letterboxd today, average rating. And I've talked about this for a while. It's weird. So Brand New Day, there are a lot of things it does extremely well. I think the emotional beats are some of the best. It gives Tom Holland and Zendaya a lot of opportunity to really showcase their acting range. Not that they obviously haven't been good in the previous movies, but this just gives them more of an opportunity to showcase their skills as actors. John Bernthal as Punisher is great. The chemistry between him and Spider-Man. The villain is big spoiler, even though everybody probably knows at this point, Jean Grey.
Yeah.
And she's done well. Like Sadie Sink plays a good Jean Grey. There's nothing wrong with that. But her character is kind of indicative of a part of the rest of the movie. It feels like there's a lot of things in the movie where it's like they just didn't think things through.
Yeah. And also not a fair criticism because, if you're not like a big Spider-Man fan, it's not really going to bug you. But it's also just kind of the combination of which I told you, like Jean Grey and Spider-Man. It's kind of a weird little combo because as far as I know, they don't really interact in the comics.
Spider-Man interacts in the comics with the X-Men relatively often, but not really specifically with Jean Grey in particular. So it was weird. Like why is she in the Spider-Man movie,
Right. Which of course is like to kind of tease X-Men. They feel like they just keep doing that. But it is a weird but I will say though, it's weird, but it made for a fairly engaging story. She's not even it's weird, and I would prefer it not have been the case, but that's not even really the issue. Like the main issue I have with the film is there's just some like glaring plot holes. In it that just take me away from kind of the illusion in the theater. It's like it reminds me, I'm watching a movie. For sure.
Like that kind of deal.
For my thing too, you see in the trailers, but I wouldn't say it's like a plot hole, but it's kind of more like not really having a through line with certain story beats. In the trailer, you kind of see like Spider-Man losing his control. His eyes blacken. He's having some form of like body. What's a word? I guess deformation. Is that a word? His body is deforming in some way. And if you remember at the end of the post-credit scene for No Way Home, I believe, funny enough, teases Tom Hardy, and a piece of the symbiote is left behind. So there's part of me where I was going to the movie and seeing the trailer a long time ago. I'm like, is it gonna be like the symbiote movie? It's I
said wish.
Which
wish. I wish.
Oh, wish. Yeah. I agree. But yeah, it doesn't really go anywhere. He just kind of has and that's the thing too, because I feel like a criticism that people had with if I could just talk about Spider-Man 3 real quickly, was kind of like the unnecessary inclusion of like the symbiote, because it was just, I feel like that was like the part of the studio that wanted it in there. But the thing is,
the symbiote in that movie was not Raimi was always going to do that. The Venom portion of the symbiote was what was was added. So and not done well.
Venom's not done well, but I was going to say, despite a lot of people hating that movie, the symbiote in Spider-Man 3 kind of serves a lot of purpose. Symbolically, it's about like, I guess like repressing your ego, or also kind of like your morals are a little muddy when you're like seeking out vengeance. It served like a symbolic purpose. But in this movie, the whole he's not even like necessarily turning evil. It's just kind of like his hormones are being disrupted. Yeah, it really like why? Because it doesn't really
it doesn't really go anywhere.
Yeah,
it's pretty. And Tom Holland has said like he originally, like when he read the script, pitched to them like, we should go even crazier like Man Spider, where there's a comic where he turns into basically a giant spider.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I thought. Oh, they might be going there
same,
with it. But
same.
They didn't do it because he said, well, they were like, no, that'd be way too scary for
a
Spider-Man movie, which I mean, they're probably right. But it would have been more interesting. And it's kind of just there. It doesn't serve much more of a purpose other than to just act as admittedly, I think a interesting plot point for the MCU as a whole, with him developing basically the power suppressor that could down the line be a bigger thing with the X-Men movies.
Yeah, so that's what I'm wondering, if like maybe this like just planting the seed for the future movies. But like I said, there was no real purpose to it. I'm trying to think of some other stuff. But the movie has its moments too. I'm thinking like the Hulk. They kind of a nice way of seeing the Hulk again.
It's a nice, but like I have an issue with the Hulk again because that's one of the plot holes that took me out of it. It's like, oh wait, so the Hulk's just back to being the Hulk. Him finding a way to being smart Hulk is just no longer a thing anymore. Like, there's no explanation for that whatsoever. And it was like, okay, why? And that's the thing with like the Punisher at the end, when in the hospital with him, it's like, oh, we're just to expect that the authorities are just going to let Punisher chill in there with no big deal when he's a mass murderer at that point.
True.
Like it was stuff like that. There's other things too, but it was stuff like that. It was like, really, you couldn't have just tweak things a little bit to not have it be kind of there, where it's like, why?
I think the reason why that is because now that I'm thinking about it, I never saw, like, I'm familiar with John Bernthal's like Frank Castle because I saw the Daredevil season 2. And I kind of know like the idea of like the Punisher series and stuff. I think they kind of just hope that people didn't watch that show. So I think maybe it's just kind of like, maybe not everyone who's going to meet the movies knows that he's like a murderer. So they can get away with it. Maybe.
No, I think Punisher is pretty well known. I think people are familiar enough with that character, and even how he's portrayed in the movie up to that point is he's clearly like, oh, I'm willing to do X, Y, Z. Like the thing that literally leads Spider-Man to be in the hospital is because Punisher is trying to take out what he deems a threat by any means necessary.
True.
I
guess what I meant is like when I was watching the movie, there's like an older woman next to me. I'm kind of thinking more of her. Like,
what'd she say?
Well, I'm thinking she probably doesn't know who Punisher is. She probably doesn't even know that there's a TV show.
That old woman needs to get out more, huh?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. But I mean, like,
instead of watching some cooking shows on the Food Network, she needs to subscribe to Disney Plus and watch Daredevil and the Punisher.
But I mean, me watching this, I was thinking about that too. Don't get me wrong. Like, not even seeing TV show. I was wondering, like, this guy's kind of walking around New York, just out in the open. I thought that was kind of weird. I kind of knew, like, shouldn't she be hunted down by the authorities right now? But regardless, John Bernthal does a good job.
He's as far as like the character, his portrayal of the character goes, and the interaction with Spider-Man is like great. It's like good chemistry between them for sure.
Which kind of brings up a good point about the movie. It sounds like we're not really, we didn't really buy into it.
We hate Spider-Man Brand New Day. 1 out of 5 stars.
From
each of us. No, just kidding.
No. Spider-Man does really cool stuff in this movie, which is why I think I like it.
It's the best portrayal of his powers and skill set on screen.
As I said, watch what we're about to say. But yeah, I agree. Best portrayal of his powers. But overall, the movie's just a little... I don't know. It's just, I guess I liked it when the movie ended. The trailers were walking. I was waiting for the post-credit scene, but it's almost like as a minute kept going by after seeing it, I'm like, you know what? It feels a little more empty now. I
actually didn't like this movie.
No, it just felt a little empty, a little hollow.
No, I don't think I don't think it feels hollow. It just feels like it almost a little missed opportunity for me, because I feel like the foundation of it was great, and I think that's what ultimately still makes it for me a good movie. Yeah, it still hits a lot of great beats. It still does some of the, especially with the character, some of the core things of the character very well. So I can't hold much against it in that regard, but it laid out the foundation for something even better, a brand new day, if you will. And it just didn't quite achieve that.
Okay. Yeah. For me, it's just kind of I think you're right. Like a missed opportunity.
Yeah. Now, I mean, having said that, what do we know? Because it's just making bank at the box office.
True.
So clearly it's delivering what the people want.
That kind of begs the question, why do you think it's this movie that's so big? Do you think it's...
I don't know. I think probably the 5-year gap makes a bigger influence than I would ordinarily think of like movies, which really makes me interested to see what happens with Avengers.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would think that's really, to me, the only reason, because No Way Home, when it was so big, it was like, oh, obviously it's because of Andrew Garfield, that Tobey Maguire being in it, all the old villains, there's that nostalgic aspect. Like I knew people who hadn't even like kept up with the Tom Holland films who were coming just because of Tobey Maguire, in there. So, I really think it's the 5 years is the biggest thing. It's like, oh yeah, it's time for a new Spider-Man movie. And I probably also has played into that Spider-Man has, for the most part, relatively been consistent quality. And the Marvel movies of late have not been. So, I think that might have been just people were starved for a good Marvel movie as well. And maybe that played into it. Just speculation. I think the biggest thing is the 5-year gap.
Okay. I wonder if, we could speculate all day, but there's part of me that wonders, like, if people thought maybe Toby or Andrew will be in the movie again. Not that they ever like teased it. Yeah. But I wonder if like maybe some people might have thought that.
Oh, I'm sure there's at least 1 or 2 people out there who are just oblivious to like anything and everything pop culture and thought, oh yeah, Toby and Andrew were in the last one. They're going to be in this one, obviously. Which I would really like to have been like in the theater with those people when they had the realization as the credits rolled that, oh, they aren't going to be in this movie.
Yeah. On that same token too, I didn't realize how much of a heartthrob that Tom Holland is, because of course there's like a scene that's kind of I know that's kind of circulating the internet, which I would have known unless they followed certain people on like social media, but I think some people kind of even want to see it just because they're so attracted to Tom Holland. There's that scene where he's like his 6-pack, but he has his mask on.
Yeah,
I saw that picture like circulating all over the internet, and girls are like, I'm gonna say like gushing over that image.
He's taken.
Yeah.
So
sorry, ladies.
You can't have it. And I unfortunately that's the only time I think I've ever been invested in a Hollywood power couple is with him and Zendaya.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. They're very
I really
endearing.
like. Yeah, they come across very endearing and like a good pair. So
yeah.
Here's to a happy, prosperous, wonderful, sweet marriage between Tom Holland and Zendaya.
Yeah, they're going to be in the episode. They're going to be on the next episode. I love saying that joke.
yeah. They give me in the next episode.
Yeah,
they're going not to talk about Spider-Man though. They're going to talk about their next film.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's going to be Lemons for Friends production.
Well, what would that be though? I don't know.
Yeah. But it's going to be announced here first. In fact, Zendaya is writing and directing it. Did you hear about that?
Is she actually directing a movie?
No.
Okay, I was going to say.
I mean, maybe at some point she will.
I'm sure she will. Yeah. Going back to the movie, one thing that I want to just kind of call out, it kind of made me dislike the movie a little bit more, just because the last like 10 minutes of the movie just suddenly got really stupid in my opinion. But I guess spoiler territory. So if you don't want to know what happens,
spoiler.
There you go. I say like fast forward 5 minutes, but
we had already given a spoiler warning.
True.
So we've already spoiled so much.
But it's like the last 10 minutes.
All right. Yeah, the last 10 minutes being spoiled.
Punisher. So Spider-Man is kind of like on an island somewhere in a warehouse, and it kind of ends with a Punisher meaning to shoot Jean Grey, but Spider-Man gets in the way from a kilometer away. They say that like, her radius for her powers is about a kilometer right now. And also Spider-Man's like on an island, right? So he's on an island, no less. When he gets shot, he's down. Punisher realizes like, oh, what have I done? And then it cuts to the Punisher carrying Spider-Man into a hospital. But it begs the question, because while he's down, he's around a lot of people who just kind of snapped out of Jean Grey's possession. So the Punisher had to travel a kilometer to Spider-Man in his little van, and then in New York City traffic, and then get to the island just so we could take him to the hospital. I'm like, how long was he out and no one was willing there to like think about helping him? Like, did people just like walk around him? Like, oh, we'll go back to work.
It was a great visual of them.
It was a great visual.
Spider-Man in his arms into the hospital.
I agree, but then I'm like, is that the reason why? That's why they did it. It's a little silly.
Yeah, it is silly. It is silly. I mean, you know, I said all those plot holes. Having said all that, you know, in a way, that's kind of endearing because comic books are full of plot holes, you know, retcons, etc. So, you know, to have a comic book movie just emulate that isn't the worst thing in the world when they're still getting the broad beats right.
Yeah,
if they're doing that and they're not even getting that right, then there's no hope. But like, it's not like I think maybe I'm more able to cut them slack than I would with some other movies, you know, because it's like, well, the source material is already not like, you know, like great English literature, you know.
Yeah,
so
that's fair. Yeah, it took me out of the movie, but I see what you're saying, and I guess I could kind of forgive it to that degree too.
Yeah. I mean, we you know, it sounds like we're being Debbie Downer on the movie. We both, I think, enjoyed it for the most part. Like it wasn't. It's not like it's a fun time at the movie still. You know,
if you like comic books, there's like really cool. Like just seeing like the Punisher shooting down the Hulk. You know, trying to defend Spider-Man. If you like comic books, I'm like, okay, like I feel like the little boy in me was like, you know, like gripping my seat, being excited seeing that. I agree. Great moments. I kind of knew the movie was going to be special when the opening song, I'm not sure if you remember it, but I love that song. It's called Wolf by Me by TV on the Radio. It's the opening scene where the montage is like, you know, it's like kind of showing like where he's at right now. That's
you were sold.
I like the needle.
You were sold.
I just like the needle drop.
Actually, no, I'm glad you brought that up because that reminded me. I will say, other than Spider-Man 2 and to a lesser extent Spider-Man 3, mainly with the black suit, but this was like the first time I think where I really felt like the score stood out to me for a Spider-Man movie. You disagree?
I don't remember anything about the score.
Well, we completely disagree. Jose is wrong. I'm right. Everybody agrees with me.
I'm just saying I don't remember much about the score. That's it.
Interesting. There's a lot of. It's very like subdued comparatively, which is what I liked about it. Like it's very like matches the tone of the movie most of the time. I liked it. So shout out to Michael Giacchino.
Yeah, Giacchino. I was gonna say he was composer. So I'll probably like listen to it on the way home because I mean I like the composer. So maybe it just I don't know. Maybe it just wasn't paying attention to it.
You got so caught up in the what was it? Wolf
Like Me
Wolf
by
Like
TV
Me.
On the Radio.
Wolf Like You got so caught up in Wolf Like Me, it was nothing else could compare.
I'd say so. Question.
Yes.
Are we closing up? Are we wrapping up?
I think we're coming to an end. Yeah.
Okay. Question about the post-credit scene because I do want to ask you just for fun.
Yeah. Spoilers.
Yeah, major spoilers because now it's like a post-credit, but whatever. It's nothing. You know, it's not footage. It's just like I guess you could call it like a screen recording. His friend Ned has like a Spider-Man tracker that he developed on the app, and it kind of just has Spider-Man sightings from users. At the post-credit scene, there it shows that Spider-Man's in outer space, and that's kind of the end of it. What do you think that's? It's funny because I was kind of teasing it earlier, but do you think that's Tom Holland, or do you think that's going to be?
It's Tom Holland. It's going to be Avengers: Secret Wars.
Okay,
no question.
I've been hearing rumors that they might try to bring Tobey in. Maybe that's what.
Well, he might be, but that Tom Holland's. Even if Tobey Maguire is in it, it's still going to be Tom Holland.
Okay.
Tom Holland's still going to be in the movie, regardless of whether Tobey Maguire is in it or not.
I guess I remember reading like, because surely like the Doomsday is going to kind of have to like end some of the X-Men because there's no way to keep what's his name?
James Marsden as Cyclops.
No, not even him. I'm talking about
Patrick Stewart as Professor X, Ian McKellen. Yeah. Well, no, so it's I mean Doomsday and Secret Wars has been pretty heavily rumored to be like kind of like a soft reset of the universe, and Kevin Feige I think has specifically said like it's going to be an end to kind of the Fox era of movies.
Well, I wonder if they're going to try to end like Tobey Maguire's too. But
I think there's a good possibility given the source material. I think there's a good possibility, but it'll be interesting to see. I think for sure he's going to be in Secret Wars. I don't think he's going to be in Doomsday, just based on what we have. I could be wrong, but there's just already so freaking many characters in Doomsday. It's gonna be crazy. But yeah, he'll be in the next Avengers, one of the next Avengers.
I don't think we're gonna see the end of Tobey. I think he actually will come back. We'll see.
Jose's holding out more Tobey.
Like I said, I love those
more youth pastor Spider-Man.
I feel like
James Marsden is in his 50s. Tobey Maguire's in his 50s now.
Yeah,
gotta get those 50-year-olds out. Get their last time. Of course, Hugh Jackman. They're probably just gonna keep trotting out until he dies. So
do you think? I'm really kind of just bringing down the conversation to like this, lesser conversation, because I'm actually curious and I kind of want to hear you say on the podcast. Do you think? Because otherwise, why did they make Deadpool and Wolverine? Do you think they're going to be in the Doomsday movie?
I don't know if they're going to be in Doomsday, but they're almost certainly going to be in Secret Wars. Yeah. I would be absolutely shocked. And Ryan Reynolds showed up in that stunt during the Doomsday panel at Comic-Con.
True. Yeah.
So he's going to be a part of it. There would be no way they could. There would be no reason for them not to do that at this point.
I feel like with these big movies, there's always like a big reveal that they're trying to keep a secret. I think Deadpool and Wolverine is going to be like the reveal, but. Because it's X-Men, right? Like I feel like, but
I think there's legitimately probably going to be stuff that we weren't even thinking about. In Secret Wars in particular. I don't know about Doomsday, but in Secret Wars in particular, just because the nature of the storyline that it's adapting. So
when is that expected to be released?
It's December 27th.
Oh, next year.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're filming back to back.
Okay, did not know that.
So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
it should be pretty cool.
Cool. Right on.
And with that, anything more to add?
Should we do ratings? We didn't really do that.
So Spider-Man 7 of 10, Spider-Man 2 9 of 10. No, I'm joking. Although those ratings are real. Spider-Man Brand New Day, a solid 7 of 10 for me.
Okay. I'm a little lesser.
Be the cynic.
Yeah, I'm going to say 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10.
Yeah, closer to a 5 than a 7.
Ooh, Jose's going against the people.
I'm comfortable with a 6.
He's going against the people. Jose's saying this movie doesn't deserve $1 billion.
No,
That's a different conversation.
If it ensures Spider-Man will keep alive and he'll be in the zeitgeist, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's the thing. And I want to say, like, Tom Holland, he's 30 now as Spider-Man. He's still got a few more movies in him for sure. And he, like Andrew Garfield before, like, genuinely loves the character. So as long as he's playing it, like, I'm willing to do it. And he's also openly talked about, like, they could set up, the Miles Morales interpretation of the character, which we didn't touch too much on it, but the Spider-Verse movies are also proving very successful, and inevitably there's going to be a live action Miles Morales movie
at some point. I don't know about that. Last Spider-Man thing related, because now I'm curious. Spider Noir with Nicolas Cage. Did you
have not watched one episode?
Are you going to? Are you interested in that at all?
I might. I'm a little interested in it. It's not high on my list. Frankly, there's just so much TV.
Okay. I'm just curious.
This is a movies podcast, Jose. Why would I talk about TV shows? Jeez.
True. I'm waiting for the day.
You think I have time to watch TV? I'm only watching movies.
I'm waiting for the day where we might talk about a TV show. And I feel like we will at some point. It just has to be the right one.
We will for sure. One of these days. Popcorn and pictures on the small screen.
The silver screen.
Yeah. Never really got that. But
let's see. Soda and silver screen.
Yes.
There you go.
Soda and silver screen.
Yeah.
And with that, we are signing off another episode of Popcorn and Pictures with your host, Sam Karpinski, and your co-host,
Jose Mendoza. I was going to say Peter Parker, but
Well, I mean, you're closer to Miles Morales than Peter Parker.
Okay. I'll take that.
Yeah. I'll be the Peter, you be the Miles.
Yeah, you certainly look more like Peter Parker.
I think closer. Actually, neither one of us really looks close to either of those characters.
No, but
But
if there's a spectrum, I think
it's true. Yeah, if it's a spectrum, you're right. You're right. That's good. Signing off.
Bye.
Till next time.